Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Castanes, and this is the new season, Season 2, Episode 26. And this program is brought to you by the Loop radio station in Chicago, WLUP FM 97.9. And here is a commercial that I posted on a previous podcast episode, so enjoy.
I'd like to tell you about a remarkable radio station.
Get it up, Chicago. This is Steve Garland Company with The Rude Awakening on the Morning Loop.
Carry on my wayward son.
Hi, it's me, Les Tracy, with Good Rockin' on the Loop.
Rich Michael's cruising through the afternoon at the Loop.
This is rock and roll radio. Sky Daniels on the Loop.
You have a remarkable mouth.
We have a remarkable radio station.
Okay, we are back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial. As I said before, this is the first episode of Season 2, which actually is episode 26, and it's a special episode I would talk about because 40 years ago today, I graduated high school at Bogan High School in Chicago on June 5th, 1981. And I probably will be talking about that for the entire episode. I could add something else, but we'll see because of time restrictions. So I won't go into much detail. I probably will, not very much, but I will talk about all the 4 years, but I would just the highlights I would talk about. So not every day or every week. So I won't do that. So freshman year, I started at Bogan High School in September 1977, and I graduated from elementary school, which was a parochial school that was located in Pills Hills, and it was called Cruisin Elementary School, and it was a good school, but the school that I was there, I felt isolated. You know, we didn't go anywhere. It was just us and just the kids and the teachers and the other kids. So, and we wore school uniforms, and we didn't associate with other people, just Greek people. That's nothing wrong with that, but it's fine. And I still talk to these people today. And when I enrolled at Bogan for freshman year, I entered a world which I was unfamiliar. I was excited, I was scared, but mostly excited to go into a new place. Excuse me, and then meet new people, take some new classes, and it was a new environment, and it was nice, very nice. And I remember my parents took me there for the first day because I was nervous. I really was. So freshman year was fine. In the beginning, got to know a few people, and then going to attend classes, get to know the teachers. I remember a few classes. I remember my first class I attended, and that was music, and that was by Miss Fitzgerald, a very lovely lady, and she was head of the chorus, the girls' chorus group that they sang at Fort City Mall and special events at school. A very nice lady, and then other classes I remember science class, and it was Miss Hare, and she was a very lively, animated woman, but she knew her stuff, and she was very smart. And other courses I'm trying to remember, not really, but the only thing I remember is the last course of the day, and it was English, and that was at the Mobile home, like I forget what they're called, but they're like the Mobile homes, and they were located outside the school, right where you learned driver's ed. And there was a teacher named Miss Altman, and she seemed very calm, very nice. Unfortunately, I heard she passed away right around senior year, which was very sad. And during the first year of school, you get to know your surroundings, trying to familiarize. And you also attended study hall, which was either at the auditorium or in the library. And I remember I attended in the auditorium. And most of the kids there don't really study. They just talk or goof off or I've seen them fall asleep, which is funny. And then, during the hall, when you walk out in the halls, you meet people, you say hello and all that. And then one of the class that you meet twice a day is division. My division was 111. And my teacher was Miss Barbaro, very nice lady. And I remember most of the kids in my class, and meet twice a day, like I mentioned. And then they call it the homeroom. That's what they said. For lunch, I did go to the cafeteria almost every day, but sometimes kids don't particularly care the food, so you either go out. And I did that as well. So you hung out at Toby's Snack Shop on 79th Street, right outside the school. There was Mr. Submarine. Actually, I knew the owner because he's Greek, of course. And then on diagonally, like across the street from the school, well, there was a standard gas station, but right across the street there was the plaza. I think it was called Cruisin Plaza, and there was Barnaby's Pizza. They're all gone, but there's one, I think, in Northbrook or Des Plaines. I don't remember exactly, but there's one left in Chicago, and I went there a few times. Pizza was pretty good. I remember there was the numbers that lit up when you order. It was very strange. Barnaby's was there for quite a while, and then after that, it left and it changed to Sorrento's, and that was there for a long, long time. And then I remember later on it opened as a sports bar, and then the Sandpiper restaurant, and then all of a sudden, plus a couple doors down was Crestline Pharmacy. So they tore that down. They tore the whole plaza down. Now it's just an empty lot. Before that, it was a BP gas station, but I don't know what happened to it. So now somebody wants to buy it and build something. I hope they do. And of course, across the street from Bogan is White Castles. And everyone who graduated from Bogan remembered that place very well. And I went there almost all the time, even after sophomore year, junior year, senior year. Went there all the time. And I remember you enter in, and they had these the stools, the blue. They're covered with the cushions that were all blue, and you order in. If you plan to eat there, you're supposed to eat your lunch and then leave. There was no loitering. I remember the manager there. She was a tough lady. Ooh, she was a tough cookie. And if you want to go to the bathroom, you have to stand by the men's room or ladies' room, and then they buzz you in. You can't just walk in. So they were very strict. It was sometimes you felt intimidated while you're having lunch. And then I remember the phone booths outside. I saw kids hanging out. They would, you can make a call and do that. They had phone booths in Bogan. I remember that. I saw pictures of that from the yearbooks, which was kind of cool. This is before cell phones, texting, and all that. At White Castles, sometimes you go outside and you can see kids smoke, doing other stuff. And then another place a lot of people went to was Tasty Freeze. That was down the street on 81st Street. That's long gone. The White Castles has been there since, I think, like the early 70s. And they tore that down in the middle of the 1980s, and they replaced it with a modern one, which I don't like it. I've seen it because they have a drive-through. The previous one didn't. So the food's still the same. I remember when the French fries were much tastier when I was in high school. Now they're okay. I still eat White Castles now and then, but it wasn't the same anymore. Freshman year, like I said before, it was fine for the beginning. Then all of a sudden, kids noticed me, and because I was different, and then they started picking on me, being bullied because I was so odd. Everyone had to be the same. You got to be with the gang. You got to be the in crowd. And that's not an easy thing to do. So it was not pleasant. There were days I would be living in fear at night. Sometimes I would be sad. I would cry in my sleep, worrying about the next day, because kids were nasty, calling me names, swearing. Sometimes teachers intervened. Sometimes they didn't. They just ignored you. You had to fend for yourself, because I was not bullied by one or two kids. I'm talking about a lot. Even kids that weren't in my class. I don't even know them. I remember one kid that picked on me. I never met this guy before. He started harassing me for no reason. I mean, come on. That was buff. Sometimes they trip you. They put gum in your hair. They did that a couple times. Freshman year was rough towards the end. Then, also at the cafeteria, I remember where they had all the Coke bottles. If you wanted a Coke or 7-Up, there was somebody there in the middle of the cafeteria, and they would open a bottle of pop for you, and they gave it to you. And then, like I said, I didn't dine much in the cafeteria, but you hung out with people you met, and then you hung around with your friends. And I did have a couple of friends at first, and then as the years went by, it grew more. I got acquainted with a lot of people. And let's see, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, and also I want to talk about gym class. When you go for the first time, you have your school uniforms. The guys wore the white T-shirts and the orange shorts, and the girls wore those blue gym outfits that they all despised, and they still do to this day. Because one time I posted a picture on my Facebook page, the Bengal Lancer, which is our school newspaper, and the comments they made about that. They were sometimes funny and sometimes nasty, but they had a point. They weren't very attractive. So in gym class, PE, I remember my first gym teacher was Mr. Toth. I remember him. And then we played volleyball. We played bombardment, which is dodgeball. We went outside. We played softball. I remember those activities, and I tried. I'm not a very athletic person. I'm still not. I'm just not coordinated. I'm not a sports fan. I do my best, to keep my mouth shut, but that's not an easy thing to do. Okay, so going to sophomore year, for those who are listening, I would just reference to people that I graduated with in the class of 1981. Also, people who graduated from other years will remember that. As for people who not familiar from my high school, I hope you understand. So, but I will mention all the places around the surrounding area where Bogan is located at 79th and Pulaski, which is still there. So sophomore year was the roughest year I ever had. That was bad. So, some of the courses were the same, gym class. I also remember gym class, my gym teacher was Mr. Trandy, one of the nicest men I ever knew. And we had swim class. Little did people know I couldn't swim, and I still don't. So I had no choice. I should have went to the teacher. I should have went to Mr. Trandy and said, I can't swim, but I didn't. I was too scared to confront them because, adults at the time to me are intimidating, and, I don't want to cause any trouble. So one day I went into swim class, we changed, we put in our swimming trunks, and then they asked us to go into the pool. And I did, and I was drowning when I fell in, and all the kids were yelling, laughing, and then Mr. Trandy dived in and saved me. And then he says, Peter, why didn't you tell me you didn't know how to swim? And I said, you didn't ask. He's just laughing at me. But you know what he did? After class, sometimes when class was louder, he stayed with me and helped me try to teach me. And I did my best, but I couldn't do it. And, he wasn't disappointed, but he knew I tried, but that was very sweet. And very concerning that he took the time to try to teach me to swim. And that was wonderful. I even told that to my parents, and Oh, it's nice. You know, he's still a nice man. He was a nice man. He unfortunately passed away a few years ago. I heard he ran a dancing school, which I didn't know. But he was one of the nicest teachers I ever had. But sophomore year was rough. And then towards the end of sophomore year in 1979, my parents decided that we would go to Greece, to travel to Greece for the summer. I didn't want to go because I want to hang around with my friends. I want to stay. I was not in the mood. So anyway, we booked the flight, and I stayed there for 2 months in the summer of '79. At first, I didn't like it there, but then I loved it. It was a great place. I met my family, my grandmother, my cousins, my aunts. I have a lot of family, both sides of the family. And little did I know that during August of '79 that disco demolition occurred. And I had no idea about that. And a lot of the kids in my class attended it. And they had a blast. They loved it. Steve Dahl and Lorelei. And it was during the White Sox game at Comiskey Park. They had a doubleheader. They had to cancel the second game because there was a riot and there was beer cans, debris, garbage all over the place. It was chaotic. It was disgusting, but very memorable. A friend of my brother's wrote to him when we were in Greece. I wrote him a letter, told him about it. And my brother didn't mention it. But when I returned to Chicago, I found out from the kids in the neighborhood all about it. I go, I had no idea. And the same thing happened when I returned for junior year at Bogan. Now, junior year, everything simmered down. I was less picked on. I wasn't bullied much. And then I sort of fit in with the kids, which I'm glad. So I remember the kids wearing the concert shirts and the combs. They put it in the back pockets. And the girls with the feathered hair. Oh, they were so pretty. All the girls in my class are beautiful, and they still are. And I remember the concert shirts. They had the Loop, WMET. They had rock groups. I remember Blue Oyster Cult. I remember April Wine, the Cheap Trick, the Who. I can't think of it. There's a lot of Aerosmith. Yeah, they had that. Of course, across the street from Bogan High School was Cruisin Music, the record store. And I did go there. I love going there. It's like you go to escape and you browse and go through the album covers and the 8-tracks and the cassettes. And then you had the bong room in the back. I remember that. It smelled. And excuse me. I remember the T-shirts hanging from the ceilings. The surveys from radio stations from WLS, the Loop, WMET, also WDAI, which turned into disco, and that was a big hoo-ha, like a big furor about that. Even a lot of people hated it. A lot of people still hate disco. I like it, but I like rock music as much as anyone else, so I like variety, which is fine. And so Cruisin Music was a great store. I have a Facebook page on Facebook. You could follow me on that. And so it's I posted album covers, and there's some photos from the original owners, and they're very helpful. They posted that, so you can, if you go on Facebook, you'll see. Anyway, so junior year was a great year. Also, you learn how to drive. So you take driver's ed. And I was nervous about, driving. So driver's ed was held across the street. And I remember one teacher, Mr. McGee. A lot of people liked him, but he was intimidating to me because one time when you drove to practice, we drove to my old neighborhood in Roseland, and I think because he used to live there, I never asked him, and I told Mr. McGee, this is where I used to live, and he didn't believe me. He thought I was BSing him, and it's not true. I was, because my father owned the property. I lived above the shoe store in the apartment, but he wasn't convinced. I tried. I told my parents about it when I got home, and they told me, forget him. What does he know? But he seemed a very nice guy. I remember one time, gym class in junior year, there was a softball game from another class, and one kid hit hit the ball, and the guy out in the field dropped it, and he swore at him real loud. And then there was a gym teacher, Mr. Catali, and he yelled, "Hey!" real loud. It was the funniest thing I ever saw. I couldn't stop laughing about that. And he was a nice man. I remember him. I had some great teachers there. There are two that are still living with us. They're still alive. Mrs. Romeliotis, and there was Mr. Ortiz, which he still is a wonderful man. I never had him as a teacher, but my brother did. So he's a fine man. He still is, and he's been there since almost in the beginning of the school. And let's see, I can't think of anything else. So now I'll go into senior year, and that was the best year of my life. I loved it. You get your class ring. You're getting prepped up for graduation. A lot of people did the work program. I forgot what it's called exactly. So for kids, they would go to school like early in the morning. They would get out about 10 or 11, and then they go for their jobs, And I tried to find work when I was at school. I had a job as a busboy at Mr. Steer's Steakhouse. And it was located at 63rd and Kedzie. I only worked there for about a couple months. I didn't like it. I was just being spoiled. But that was my first real job. And I tried to find work at Fort City Mall nearby. I tried everywhere. I've applied everywhere. Weebles, JCPenney, Montgomery Ward, Woolworths, Super X Drugs, the Harvest House Cafeteria, anywhere. Nothing. Even Turnstile was there, but then it closed. Then it went to Venture. I tried at Fort City Cinema. Nothing at all. I couldn't get a job, which is unfortunate. So senior year, I had the best time of my life, and we had it at the Air Crown Theater in McCormick Place, and all the kids were there. And so it was the last day on June 5th, and it was kind of sad, but it was very nice, and we were free. And then we went on to our lives in the future. So that's why I recorded this special show. I hope the kids in my class would enjoy this program, and other Bogan graduates too. I've had a couple of comments from people already, and they say, "Why are you doing this? This is silly. It's a waste of time." I don't want to be intimidated. I want to do this. I want to talk about it because I feel very relieved. And then about 10 years ago, we had our 30th reunion. Actually, we had two. It was the best time of my life. It was nice seeing everyone. I didn't go to the 10th one because I didn't know about it. I had no clue. Or the 20th. No, I remember the 10th one. I had to work and I couldn't make it. And the 20th, I think it was because of 9/11. So that didn't happen. So I had a great time. And then we will have our next reunion on September 17th of 2021. And hope to see everybody. If you know anyone who's not on Facebook or Twitter or on social media, call your classmates, call them on the landline, their cell phone, text them, tell them the reunion's all set. It's going to be on September 17th, and I hope they come. And I hope to see everybody. It'll be a lot of fun. So that'll be all for today for this special episode of me graduating from Bogan High School 40 years ago today. I'm glad you enjoyed the program. I will, next episode, I will talk about, we go back to normal. We talk about things in Chicago that are no longer around, and that should be fun. Okay, so this is Pete Costanes, host of Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. This is season 2, episode 26. I'm glad you could join me and listen to me. And now this is bye-bye for now. And take it away, Ray Rayner.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.